Hey folks, it's ARDWULF, and you're watching No Enemies Here.
Welcome to No Enemies Here, the show where I'm gonna bust your boxes. Hey, let's go through my mail, alright? So first things first. Let's see here. Okay, let's fix that. Fix that. And we have Noble Knight. Featured articles. They have like GMTS featured articles, like many web pages have featured articles, and this is about Roman board games. And I see 3 GMT games. And that's that for that. And also, the new war games that just got in. They got in Black Swan, number 80, East Front Double Pack. Alright, this is Ted Racier type game. I think it is Ted Racier. And also the second printing of the Epic expansion, Epic Napoleonics, from GMT. As I said, check out their shipping as opposed to the GMT's webpage and compare shipping prices. That's right. What do we have here? Academy Games. All stretch goals unlocked. They just got a ton load of steel coins or whatever. And it's Fife, England. So check it out on Academy's webpage, see what it has to offer, and they have late pledges happening too. Now on to HOLLANDSPIELE. $10 Words, an auction game by Amabel Holland. This is their new $20 MSRP type games. She has a new HOLLANDSPIELE and Amabel. She has a new section for cheaper type games. Check it out. We just had an interview with Amabel on the Chit Show with Artie and Dan. I'm Dan. And yeah, you got your info, eh? What can I tell you? And here we have Worthington Publishing. Divine Right, classic fantasy board game. This was originally published in '79 by Game Wizards at TSR. Playable by 2 to 6 players in 2 to 6 hours, right? I'm assuming it's an hour per player. I'm assuming. Alright, so that's what it is. And also today we have Ricardo, the professor's in the house. We have Meandering Mike. We got Seek and Play. We got, let me see here. We have 6 Actual. And life is good, man. So, let's get the show on the road and enjoy it. Thank you.
Hello, this is Ricardo Mazzini, and this time the greatest day in history and games is April 26, 1937. a crucial day both for military as well as for art history, the day of the bombing of Gernika. Now, the general picture in which we are, general scenario in which we are moving, is the Spanish Civil War, the great conflict that lasted for the second half of the 30s in Spain against the Republican government and the insurrectionist military troops led by General Francisco Franco. The struggle was very bitter, very cruel, very violent, and also saw the engagement of outside external forces to Spain. On one side, the Axis powers of Germany and Italy supporting Franco, clearly supporting Franco. On the other, the Soviet Union supporting or other international movements, socialist and anarchist and liberal movements, supporting the Republican government. The war was very long, very bitter, as you have seen, and in 1947 it was clear that we were at a crucial landmark. Many campaigns had been fought, many which with the nationalist troops supported by volunteer troops sent by Italy and Germany, and Republican forces, Republican regular forces supported by international brigades of volunteer fighting for the Republic. Especially in the north of the country, the situation was very difficult. In the north, the nationalist General Emilio Mola wanted to obtain control of the high ground in the Basque countries that was essentially preventing for the nationalist advances. The Spanish troops were especially supported by Italian troops on the ground, and in the air they were supported by the German Condor Legion sent by the Luftwaffe with the new and experimental aircraft that had the precise mission of experimenting what was later to become the tactical and even strategic bombing of World War II, which will break out in 2 years. Now, in the situation, German General Sperle was overseeing the situation near the area of Madrid, of the Republican capital, and all the fight in that crucial area. So tactical command on the field was left to Wolfram von Richthofen. Yes, a relative of Manfred von Richthofen of the Red Banner that had perished in World War II, in World War I, sorry, in the Great War, and now in before World War II. Other relatives of the family were fighting for the German Luftwaffe as well, and also other aircraft, and also there were also aircraft of the Italian Aeronautica that were labeled Aviazione Legionaria, legionary force. This is the volunteer body of Italian airmen fighting for the nationalists. There had been some very limited and precise, and yes, experimental tactical bombings of even civilian targets at Elorio and Durango, and they were in general in line with the idea of using bombers to support tactical troops, as well as spreading panic on the civilian populations on far from the front line, and so these were the first uses in this kind of the air bombings. The General Mola was very prudent and stalled the main advance and insisted on the air campaign. His idea was to essentially to besiege the entire region, also profiting from the neutralist behavior of the Royal Navy, of the British Royal Navy, In this time, the British were a bit worried that too much support to the Republic, to the Spanish Republic, could essentially give the entire Spain to a Soviet-friendly Republican government. These ships of the British Royal Navy essentially closed trade and so closed any support for the region. However, this was a very long strategy. And so, on April 26th, an exasperated Warren Toffen, angry at Moreland's overprudence, as he called it, ordered a ferocious bombing raid against a very specific target, one of the greatest towns in the area, the town of Gernika. There was some military value in the area, this has to be said, because Republican troops were retreating, the proximity, some of them were using some of the bridges in the area. But the sequence of the bombing scheme, as well as the weapons, the types of bombs or ammunition used in raid, all point out to a deliberate, demonstrative bombing against soft targets and against the civilian population as well. The idea was essentially to terrorize the civilian population. On that day, the first group of aircraft was sighted by the civilians on the ground, Gernika and the area, and these first aircraft were essentially scouting the area and then possibly identifying optimal insertion routes and bombing points and bomb release locations. These prompted the civilians to flee, thus immediately overcrowding the few roads and trails in the area. Also, it was market day at Gernika, or even look for shelter inside their homes. But after that, for some minutes, nothing happened. So everybody got out thinking that this was just a test, recognition, but the roads stayed overcrowded. And they were terribly wrong. 15 minutes later, the first wave arrived. The first wave was armed with explosive, and here we see incendiary bombs. This is why it is very difficult that the main target were the bridges. The incendiary bombs had a terrible effect on the unprotected civilians, and the entire area was engulfed in flames and horror. Then came the second wave. And this was the strongest one. The panic-stricken crowds in the streets and the buildings that were already on fire were hit with precision bombing tactics, executed by the experimental Heinkel 111 bombers, the same bombers that we will see in the Battle of Britain a few years after. The stragglers on the ground that are scattered all over the landscape were then strafed and fragged by fighters and fighter bombers flying at low altitude. Once again, a clear indication of a deliberate attack on civilians. The third wave was the coup de grace. Small incendiary tubes were dropped from the sky with an effect more like a primitive napalm effect, sealing the fate of the few survivors. This was a test, and this test of one of the first dedicated large-scale tactical bombings was over, and German and Italian generals declared themselves to be very satisfied with the results. The problem with all this, with these terrible results and all the casualties and horror and destruction of the civilian population, were the political consequences. The shock was felt all over Europe because of the violence and cruelty of such an action. German leaders then tried to avoid responsibility. First they said that it were the Republican forces that had set fire to the city. Then they said that they declared the intended target were the bridges, and that the winds scattered the bombs all over. Then denied any direct involvement, mentioning only Spanish nationalist planes. But what had happened was clear to everyone. And it was also clear to a great artist, Spanish artist Pablo Picasso, who dedicated one of his paintings to the occasion. He made this painting shown one of his most renowned works, a terribly effective depiction of the chaos and death of that day and the horror and the silent horror of that day. A painting going by one simple name, Gernika. The Spanish Civil War will go on, and at the end the nationalists led by General Franco will win. There are many games about this crucial and devastating conflict, but recently I had the occasion of trying one of them, and I was blown away by its effectiveness at depicting such a problematic and controversial and complex conflict in a very, very engaging way. And that game is Land of Freedom. Land of Freedom is a semi-cooperative title for 1 to 3 players, and you have essentially something of a multiple states of siege game with convergent fronts. And you have one player represents the anarchists, another the communists, another the liberals, and you have to cooperate to stand back the nationalist advance on all the fronts to various cards that are played with crisis cards, but you have also to position yourself inside these alliances to maintain control of the government or to satisfy the international support, the external support, for example, for the communists from the Soviets. So it is a very delicate balance game. There are constant asymmetries all over the board. On one side of the board you are cooperating, on the other you are competing with the other players, and also the many cards that would represent very precisely several episodes, several moments of the war. So they constitute something of an encyclopedia of the war. Every single card has a very thorough historical explanation of the single event that it shows, and so it is a very informative piece of work over the war itself. Also, as I said, the game this shows very well the evolution of the war in all its phases, and is also very versatile, very flexible, because it's a game for 1 to 3 players. So you can play the Solitaire as any of the 3 factions, and you have a very easy, very manageable bot to manage all the others. So in the end result is a simple yet very detailed and engaging title. For me, one of the best 3-player games in my collection and even out there, and surely one of the best titles dedicated to this conflict. So that's it for this time. See you on the next battlefields. Ciao.
Let's get on with the crux of the show. The news, that is. Legendary Tactics. 4 videos. 2 videos are on a 50-year-old game by Avalon Hill called Outdoor Survival, the game about wilderness skills. Also, a playthrough on Conflict of Heroes Awakening the Bear Scenario number 1 and how to play Fractured Sky, a board game from, it says here, IV Studios, but if it's Roman, it's 4 Studios. That's what it is. The Man Who Looks Like a Vampire, Mark Felton of Mark Felton Productions, has 3 videos. Band of Brothers, Eagle's Nest, Then and Now. There's Dick Winters, but it's not Dick Winters, it's Band of Brothers Dick Winters, and that's Damien something. Did Japan attack the continental U.S.? Fact or fantasy? Also Hitler's Berghof bunker, exploring an off-limits world. Off-limits, he says. Well, it's on limits now. Compass Games is live with Compass Games Town Hall episode 86, and there's the boss's face, Bill, and the boss's son, Bill. Yeah. My favorite Frenchie, Freddy Fred Serval of Homo Ludens, 2 videos, Pax Penning, Teach and Play with the Designer, Part 2, and Wargame Archaeology, Unearthing the General Magazine, Volume 4. Volume 4 featuring Liz from, oh my god, what's her webpage? Liz of, oh my god, I forgot. Sorry, Liz. Hold on, it happens. Indy Nidell's great channel, World War II, 2 videos, week 292, Allies charge forward from the Rhine. The 30th of March, 1945, and Italian communists, the French in Indochina, and the fate of Italy's army. Artie of ARDWULF'S Lair, 2 videos on the live section of YouTube. Counterclipping episode 167, the ultimate war game, he says, plus the shit show with Dan and Artie. I'm Dan. The Designer's Vision with Amabel Holland of HOLLANDSPIELE. The Boss, Clark Commando 1983, 4 videos. GMT Games Unconditional Surrender After Action Report, Learn to Play Part 4. And a fireside chat with Mark. Could that be Mark Herman? Who knows? Then he continues 2 other videos of Unconditional Surrender, number 5 and part 6, all after action reports, especially part 6, which is a Learn to Play on Clark Commando 1983. The Boss! GIMPY of GIMPY Gamers, or Gamer I should say, Headquarter World War II pre-release. Headquarters World War II pre-release, and then Trick Shot gameplay and review part 2 on GIMPY's channel. The Gentlemen of the Player's Aid have 3 videos. The Halls of Hegra unboxing by Tompet Games, plus Raw, North Africa 41 by GMT and Mark Simonich, obviously, and review Dune, War for Arrakis. Come on, he says. Alright, on the Player's Aid. Gaming Through History update and the Great War in Europe Deluxe. Hey, help this guy out. He's got 7 subscribers. Go and subscribe. What's the matter with you? I don't. Dave of Dave's Gaming Cave, 1 video on its Paratrooper Great Airborne Assault, Palin Bang, and Primo Sol. Bridge review. Primo Sole. It sounds like Italian, the Primo Sole, but Palin Bang sounds like they're in Indonesia. Combat Board Games, 1 video, and it's the little game that has made a lot of people mad at me, called Snowflake Rebellion. I gotta watch that. The Name of the Game, 2 videos, I should say 1 video, but 2 videos of the same. He started this 13 days ago, and 6 days ago he's Learn to Play Star Trek Battle Lessons 5, an encounter. So, training manual lesson number 5. You gotta train before you play. So, you gotta train for about 2 years. Then you can play the game. Tony of Tony's Board Life, 1 video and Let's Play Via Janagara. Or Vijayanagara, sorry. Scusi, yeah? Part 1. I never heard of Vijayanagara before Fred Serval said it, and I thought, what the hell, is he having a stroke? But anyways. Charles Latour, 3 videos. Brian, here's how much space NA 41 needs. North Africa, he says. Surprised there's room for Napoleonics. Okay, then World War II books. And more shelves, games, and books on Charles Latour. Hissy Cat, a podcast. Postcards from the front, number 18. The hero of Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge, that is World War II. Why do I keep thinking it's Vietnam? Am I wrong? Please correct me. I want to be corrected. I also want to be sedated. The Ramones. The Board Games Chronicle. First look at Rebel Fury, the Civil War Heritage Series, volume number 1, published by GMT and designed by Mark Herman. Who? Mark Herman. Gamer Hudson, 3 videos. Operational Combat Series, Guderian's Blitzkrieg. Bryansk Scenario Part 1, Part 2, and then he goes for a channel update. Goss, Lucky Forward, Battalion Combat Series, and Advanced Squad Leader. There's like a lifetime of information just there. Lifetime. Once Upon a Game, Kevin Kitch's channel. Rebel Fury, Battles of the American Civil War, Mark Herman, GMT, on Once Upon a Game. The Professor Riccardo Mazzini, 2 videos on his mini war log, 1 in Italian for our Italian listeners, and 1 in English, what a courteous guy, of the same video, and it's Rebel Fury, that Mark Herman game, published by GMT on Riccardo Mazzini, the Professor's channel. On the Tank Museum, 1 video, Whitman's Tiger Rampage, Villers-Bocage, June 1944. Could you imagine this guy had all the resources he wanted? All of them! He would have done more damage, that's all. History Hustle, 1 video on the Forgotten Nazi Uprising in Chile, 1938, on History Hustle. Mo! Of Mo's Game Table, 2 videos, 85 Afghanistan, Graveyard of Empires from Flying Pig Games, plus The Fate of All from Thin Red Line Games, a preview. Destiny does not wait. The Fate of All. On Mo!
For the first Wednesday in April 2024, Seek Out and Play presents a video on the different play modes in Stalingrad, Inferno on the Volga by Vento Nuovo Games. The video features rules which cover the cooperative, competitive, and 2-player modes the game has to offer. While primarily a solitaire game, Stalingrad, Inferno on the Volga also offers 2-player and 2 versus 1 player options. This allows for 1, 2, or 3 players to play the game. The video will help guide new players to Stalingrad, Inferno on the Volga in setting up and playing the different game modes. Check out more videos on Vento Nuovo Games when you visit the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel. Also, I have an X and Facebook page which delivers news about the channel, along with a monthly podcast which you can find on Spotify and BuzzFeed. And if you want to support my efforts in maintaining the channel, I have a Patreon page for monthly donations, or you can buy me a beer for a one-time donation. Check out more videos on the Seek Out and Play YouTube channel, and I will see you next Wednesday.
Prasuta Goose, 2 videos, a hobby update plus Decision Victory 1918, Suiso, July 18 to 23 by Legion War Games, and this is an unboxing. This is on Prasuta Goose, the Orwell Wargamer. Stephen Dolge's 4 videos, all of them are on Axis Empire Ultimate Edition. Training, Fall of France Part 3, Part 2 there was before, Part 4, and initial impressions after TK training. After TK training. I don't get it. What's TK? Technical knockout. I've been watching boxing on YouTube. Lots of fun, man. Actually, I'm really getting into UFC, man. But my favorite is Thai. Thai boxing. Thai kickboxing. Love it. The one, the only, the icon. STUKAJOE. 2 videos on his live section of YouTube. And it's Morning Walk Circle, DC, April 5th. But I see the Saint Nazaire game happening there. And I'm wondering, Joe, is he gonna make a video just like he did from B17 for the raid at Saint Nazaire? Because that would be epic. And you know what, Joe, if you're gonna do it, because I know you're a musician too, but if you want to do it and you don't want to, like, because this is going to take time, I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to talk to another artist. If you don't want to do the music, I'll do the music for you. I'll get back on the keyboard and I'll compose something just for the raid at Saint Nazaire. But you're a musician too, so you can do the music also. What can I tell you? Respect, Jim Ozarski, 3 videos. The Battle of Quatre Bras 2 for General d'Armée, and the action at Garamanche 4 for I Ain't Been Shot, Man, plus Firebase 3 for Charlie Don't Surf. I hope that's a Vietnam game. On Jim Ozarski's channel. Storm of Steel Wargaming, 3 videos. Bench report, Achtung Panzer, the cards. This is from Warlord Games. And Painting Warlord Games Epic British Napoleonics on Storm of Steel Wargaming. GMT has a video on its Coast Watchers teaser from designer Volko Runke. Volko Runke. You expect this guy to be a beast of a guy, tattoos, bald head, wearing black, massive, coming out of a Mercedes SUV. But it ain't that. It's Volko. That great channel that is Kings and Generals, 2 videos, Rise of Mamluks, animated medieval history documentary, plus early Christian schisms, how the modern church was formed. ID Jester, 4 videos that I could put on here. Last Epoch, playing level 82 Beastmaster on level 90 islands. Oh, he's like 8 levels down. You're gonna get that crap kicked out of you there, ID. Plus monthly board game recap and board game arena. BGA now has Terraforming Mars. Let's take a quick look. BGA. Big games, And Gents Deluxe Edition setup and playthrough for solo gameplay on ID Jester. Pushing Cardboard 1 video when it's unboxing France, 1944. This is a Compass game, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Mark Herman and Judd. Judd was the developer. And Coffee Getter. Because when you work for Mark, it's like, you're working for... You're learning how to... I don't know how to sharpen a knife from a Japanese master. The first 2 years, you get him coffee. After that, you can look at him sharpening the knives for another 5. And after that, he makes you hold the knife. Maybe close to the stone. And after that, makes you hold the stone. That's another 2 years. And after that, you could begin sharpening. So 15-year study, how to sharpen a knife. Mark Herman, get coffee, you know what I'm saying? Cult cinema classics come out. Who doesn't want to watch Terror in the Midnight Sun, a 1959 monster film with John Carradine and Barbara Wilson. Then, with John Carradine again, Invasion of the Animal People. Why wouldn't you want to watch that? Mauro Faina for our Italian listeners. checks out on his showy Johnny Zero Nero, the Black Janizary, and its Rebel Fury, unboxing and first comments. Dave of Dave's Gaming Cave, 3 videos, Storm of Steel, Operation Barbarossa, missions 1 through 7, divided in 2 videos, then the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force, Part 1, on Dave's Gaming Cave. The man famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino, has 4 videos, and it's Deutsche Africa Corps 41 September and Quit, plus a review of said game and Pope Joan book, discussion plus banish all their fears intro. That's the new game he's playing. On Calandale, the man famously known as Calandale, Enrico Viglino. Cody of the Discriminating Gamer, 3 videos, and it's a preview of Nerthania, Collapsing World, plus Catan, Starfarers, or Starfarers Duel. There's something about Catan I don't like. Then Cody's Top 10 Games Store Pet Peeves. Yeah, that should be fun. Fanny Rob, 2 videos, and both videos are on a playthrough of War of the Rings 2nd Edition, Parts 1 and Part 2. For our Polish viewers, Michelle of Wojennik TV has 3 videos, and Cartaventura, Winlandia, plus Frondeur et Frondeuse, fraudsters, and fraudsters female, male and female in French grammar, huh? Plus a review of Halls of Hegra on Wojennik TV. Cutesy Poutsy! Zella Blitz, 3 videos, 2 of them are on A Most Fearful Sacrifice, played solo, and a monthly update for April 2024 on Zilla Blitz. Robert of KilRoyWasHere, 4 videos that I put on here, but he's got a hell of a lot more, and send me a video. God's sake, man. He checks out for Sanctuary Sunday, Hollywood 47. He says, by Facade Games. Then he looks at Coffee with Kilroy, my favorite segment, A History of Warfare by John Keegan, if I'm not mistaken. Then Halls of Hegra by Tompet Game, After Action Report, Gameplay, and Review. He's got time to do that, but not to send me a video. Plus, Coffee with Kilroy, Panzerschreck Issue 17, Fall 2020 by Minden Games. Hexed Encountered, 4 videos, 1 on TV Pro Wrestling, 1 on The Hunters, a game by Gregory Smith. Then 85 Afghanistan, Graveyard of Empires, first look, and a channel update. Nanguaya! I don't know what's going on, but he's only got 2 videos. Constructing rail is very expensive and time-consuming in Der Weltkrieg. Plus, the Russian Fifth Army tries to push back the Austro-Hungarian Fourth. Things didn't turn out too well for Austria-Hungary, eh? Hex to Hex, 4 videos, ASL SK1, Scenario NEV2, the finale, plus Highway to the Reich, turns 2 and 4, back to ASL SK1, Scenario NEV3, turns 1 and 2, he's going backwards here, and Highway to Hell, or Highway to the Reich, sorry, Highway to Hell, I'm thinking AC/DC, turns 5 and 8 on Hex to Hex. Phoenix Night, 4 videos, Mystical Munchies, Hot Chocolate, plus The Hunters, and a game recap, I'm assuming of The Hunters. And then he plays Lucidity, 6-Sided Nightmare, 4/3/24. Oh, I get it, that's the date. On Phoenix Night.
This week on 6 Actual, we look at Panzer North Africa from GMT Games. This is another in the line of Panzer games from GMT, however this is not an expansion, but a standalone game. Command a small complement of tanks, infantry, and other vehicles. World War II tactical tank combat in the desert, only on 6 Actual.
6 Actual.
Heavy Cardboard, Life Play of Weimar, The Fight for Democracy, Part 2. So this is the second part. This is a teach, play, and discuss. A 4-player herd on Heavy Cardboard. Agility Snips Gaming Table, 3 videos. Silent War with IGN, Playthrough Part 9. Plus Irish Freedom Civil War by White Dog Games Part 2. And Skies Above Britain Chapter 1 Patrol. And number 6, a game by Jerry White. Maybe Gina Willis is in this one. I don't know. I get mixed up. You know what I'm saying? Eric's Table Napoleonic Battles 1 video, I should say. And it's BAR. Bataille something. Battle of Colin, 1757. At 4:20 p.m. Turn part number 2. That's pretty specific, eh? I just said Leonidas. I was going to say Adonis. But he's an Adonis too. Come on, look at the guy. Hey, he's Greek. He's all cut. 2 videos. SK23 Monty's Gamble Part 2, The Consequence. Plus, Squad Leader ASL Second Front Compare and Overview. George Hiotis. George, I want to know, are you going to Stack Academy? It's in May. I don't know exactly when, but it's in May, and I'm going to be doing something there. Hopefully. Faristo, George. Gilbert Collins, my paisan from there. Mark Herman's Pericles Part 1 plus Mark Herman's Pericles Part 2 and Mark Herman's Pericles Parts 1 and 2. But you just told me it was Part 1 and Part 2. Not Part 1 and 2. You know, capiche, Gilbert. Verstehen Sie nicht? Ben Harsh of Harsh Rules, 1 video and it's Part 20 of Rules Breakdown of the Advanced Squad Leader Starter Kit number 3. Advanced Squad Leader Starter Kit series, obviously, and it's more vehicle coming. Learn to play with easy rules, harsh rules. For our Spanish listeners, Julius Fairfax looked at the halls of Hegra. La Fortaleza. Fortaleza de Hegra. Fortaleza. Yeah. My Own Worst Enemy, 2 videos, Burning Banners, and Unboxing is a Compass Games game, plus a GMT game called Battle of the American Revolution, Utah Springs Turn, number 9. I think this is a Mark Miklos game. We should get Mark Miklos for chits, for the chit show. Ruffy of Rough Swordsman War Gamer, 2 videos, The War Room Live with special guest, The Boss! Mark Ruggiero, A.K. Clark Commando 1983, plus Tony ID Jester and Rough play Vijayanagara Part 1. Sean Lambert, 2 videos, Tips and Tricks, Logistics. Gary Grigsby, Warren East, and air replacement of Gary Grigsby. I want to say Grigsby. Warren East Part 2 on Sean Lambert's channel. Today, I'm looking at Decision Games mini game series Phobos Rising, Insurgency on Mars. This is a solitaire game. There's 2 in the series. There's Phobos Rising and Ceres. And these are easy games to play, if I do say so myself. And what you get in here is some gaming cards. Tiny ones like this, and you get stuff like an event like that. I don't know if it focused, but you get 4 mission cards so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 event cards. 4 mission cards, 14 event cards. So here you go, huh? You get a little strip of counters. And you know what? They're all right. There you go. It's magazine counter type material. You get mini games system rules. You get 4 pages of that. Alright, tells you how to set up the game, how to win, all kinds of stuff. Op cards, net runs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You get that, plus you get surface combat free Mars rules. Alright, that's a whole page here. Like that. This is a game, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's designed by Joseph Miranda. It's developed by Christopher Cummings. And the map graphics are Joe Yost. Alright. And here we go with the map. And you know, these games, they're not expensive. And you play them in an hour. You know what I'm saying? How's that, eh? And on this game sheet, you have your terrain effects chart, installation chart, and special action table, terrain key, and net track. Remember that game, that video game called Faction? Was it Faction? It was an old PS2 video game. Red Faction, that's it. That's what this reminds me of. And the back of the game. This came in a Ziploc bag, which I destroyed. And that's it for Phobos Rising. Decision Games. Check it out.
Howdy folks, Meandering Mike here in the Man Cave of Madness. This is my weekly channel update. Before we look at the videos that I did for this week, I have a poll on my community tab. You can decide which game I'm going to play next after I finish my American Revolutionary War in the Western Frontier. I got 2 more games to finish of that. So you have choices here: Wizard Kings, Mound Builders, In Magnificent Style. These are all from my 10 games for the year for the War Room. Or you can select something really old school. I'll pick something that's, you know, that I played in high school or college, at least 40 years old. So if you want something really old school, you pick that. Otherwise, one of these 3 titles here, all part of my 10 games for the year for the War Room. So what did I do? It was a short week. Last week's weekly update there, and 1 video. My wife was having her colonoscopy this week, so I had to play babysitter and chauffeur and all that good stuff. So I didn't have a lot of time. I did have a chance to play some games that I didn't film. I will be filming this game coming up sometime in the next month or 2. But so only one thing I did, an unboxing of The War of 1812. This is the designer edition from Bill Molyneux. It's from Blue Panther. It's 40 battles from the War of 1812. It combines 3 previous sets of his, puts it all in one place. New edition from Blue Panther. Good bang for your buck. So if you're interested in that, take a look at that video there. So that's it for the week. Short week, like I said. Do remember, we've got this poll here on my community tab. I'd love to have you vote and help decide what that I will play next after Fort Jefferson and Pensacola. Those are the last 2 in my campaign of the American Revolutionary War. So that's it for the week, folks. I'm going to send it back to all you folks that are watching. Dan Pencaldi's known him here. Send it back to Dan. Ciao, y'all.
Another week! Excuse me. Another show! We're on our 50th episode. 2 more episodes, and it's been 7 years that this show's been running. Thank you to everybody out there watching this. Thank you to my subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please do. It helps me out. You know, I don't know how yet, but it seems to, I don't know. I don't know what the numbers do. What, Colgate's gonna get in touch with me? You're gonna want to put an ad on No Enemies Here and give me like $500,000? Hey, if that's what it is, please subscribe. Like this channel and support this channel on our Patreon, on my Patreon, which helps this show running. Thank you to my collaborators, 6 actual Seek Out and Play, meandering Mike Kilroy, even though he wasn't here today, the Professor Riccardo Mazzini. Thank you very much. This weekend I work. There should be some more truck stop tales. I have one in the bag. I'm gonna edit it and put it up, so I'm sure there's stories there, huh? This is one I'm showing you aliens. I shouldn't say that too loud. It's a conspiracy that's happening at the truck stop. I'll show you. Next week, that is. So, hey, be nice and have a good week.